Ladies and gentlemen, many thanks for joining us today, and we are very excited to have Mr. Ted Schilling from Siegen and Ms. Adriana Uribe from Tiffany Co. And without further ado, I would like to hand over the floor to Ted Schilling and Adriana. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, of course. So Adriana Uribe, I currently lead the transformation office for Tiffany Co, overseeing the global technology organization, right? And prior to that, I was driving the transformation portfolio for a global supply chain at the Estee Lauder companies. So since then, I've been really working and focusing on strategy development and transformation related to that. But I do come from a portfolio management, program management, project management background, which I feel like really helps me to understand that it's really not a simple task, right? To actually deliver on the strategy, because all the ideas and where we're going is great, but then how do we really get there and it gets to delivery, right? So I feel it's been a good combination for me in order to really try to move the needle towards where the company wants to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, that is difficult going from strategic to more tactical. How do you get it done right? It's exactly. It's kind of a special skill. Not everybody.
Yeah, and that translation, right? How do you translate what the vision and the strategy is so everyone can be on board and that relates to what projects they're part of, what they're actually working on, right? And the importance of that in the overall goal. So very exciting. I like it.
Yeah, similar things that we're doing here too at my company. So anyway, so with technology constantly evolving, what are the major challenges that you see in running or initiating transformation?
Yeah, so I think we all have experienced a little bit at this point, both in our personal lives and professional lives, I think is the speed of change, right? So that's definitely a challenge because I feel most companies are struggling to just constantly catch up, right? And then you're trying to get there and provide the omni-channel capabilities, etc. However, it does take time to move to the cloud, right? It does take time to fully enable those omni capabilities, mainly when you are tied to less flexible backend systems, right? Like an OMS, etc., or order management system, etc. So the speed of change is really a constraint today, right? And I think with those implementations that do take time, bringing value early on or through the process, it's not easy. So that's definitely a challenge, an area that needs focus. And also, in order to achieve that, that really requires agility, right? And I think that became a little bit the magic word, but really not just agility on your delivery methodologies, like an agile scrum, right? Which obviously is super important. That allows you to accelerate, right? Achieve the continuous integration, continuous deployment, CI/CD pipelines, but also focusing on agility in your governance, right? Agility on the supporting process and like all the way from financials, right, to initiate something or initiatives under a program to like hiring, right, which I've experienced, at least in my experience, let's say not the fastest area in the company. So those are things that take time. So agility to all that operating model, it's super important to support that. Once you're really running the transformation portfolio, I feel like another big challenge is change fatigue, right? So you're going very fast, and we came from a state where change management was more, hey, this is going to be really good for us, let's embrace it and focus on adoption. But now it's more like we live in constant change, right? So every day you're adopting something new. So that original Kubler-Ross change curve, right? The denial, anger, depression, all the way to acceptance. That's hard now because there's no time to go through the phases anymore, right? So that's a huge challenge as well. And I think the last point I would make also is challenging to maintain continuous improvement throughout the organization. When you're going so fast, it requires a lot of focus, attention to not leave things behind, or we'll deal with that later, right? Or it's hard. People are going a million miles an hour. It's just not easy to stop and do retrospectives and really think how we can improve the process themselves as well. So I think those will be at least several, right? But the list is very long, but those will be for me the key challenges, in my experience.
Yeah, I mean, the change management piece, I mean, everything is, I mean, technology's always moved pretty fast, but in today's world, it's breakneck speed and lots of changes. You know, artificial intelligence is becoming a part of our lives in our business. And we're trying to figure out, you know, how do you apply that?
Exactly.
And then of course, you know, I think the change fatigues are real. I mean, that's real. It's you have to kind of figure out how do you give people a break yet keep moving forward, because you're right, it has to be done quickly, and
it is a tough balance.
And it takes a lot of people, and a lot of times this is just extra, you know, outside of what their day job is, I call it, is working on making these changes. So you're right, it's a challenge.
Yep.
Sure. So okay, could you kind of give us a sneak preview to your presentation?
So I'm hoping that during my presentation on learnings from managing this technology-driven business transformation, I was hoping to really share some more practical ways to deal with some of these challenges, right? And of course, we know the buzzwords and the theory behind it, but really things that have worked for me, right? So talking about those main challenges, but really focusing on the lessons learned, right? That what work for me and the companies that I work for, regarding how to enable like short-term value, right? So throughout that transformation roadmap, what are the things you can drop in capability for the business, right? So there's some concrete opportunities there, mainly with latest technology. Also some tips on really unlocking that agility, right? So end-to-end, again, looking at that complete operating model, and also focusing on sustaining the pace, which again, touching on change fatigue, et cetera, is it gets to a point that is hard to sustain, right? You go for a sprint, but then at some point it gets very tiring. So what are things that can help to sustain the pace, plus adjusting, right, and to the reality of the organization? So I'm really hoping for an interactive session, right? Again, bringing those real examples, and hoping the audience can relate to and really apply to their own scenarios when they're back.
Okay, great. That sounds exciting. Looking forward to seeing it. I think we have a lot of parallels of what's going on in my company right now as well.
I bet
we're going through an acquisition by, you know, Pfizer, and obviously a lot of change. And so we're living a similar thing, and we're trying to do the same thing, and you know, with transformation, and it's a lot. And I'm looking forward.
And that's a great point, because when you put acquisitions, we Tiffany just went through one 2 years ago. Yeah. And when you go, you know, you put that on top of all the change you need to achieve, right? Yeah. It just becomes too much. So it's really interesting to talk about ways to manage that and deal with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know we've been doing a lot of just having like little celebrations, you know, we do different things, and that I think that helps, just having a Friday afternoon or something where, you know, everybody comes together, and one, you're building relationships, doing that together. It gives them a little break. So I think that's how we've been managing that, and that seems to be going pretty well. So what do you look forward to in Miami?
So again, I really enjoy this, right? The sharing, like the finding that there are things in common more than we would think. So sharing these insights, experience, etc., but also learning from others, right? I think this exchange is really super important, and has been for me super helpful in the past, through the conferences that I attended, right, where I had the opportunity to really also expand my professional network, meet new folks who are going through the same, right, and really finding those areas where, wow, I never thought of trying that. That's super interesting. Or I thought of trying that, but I don't even know where to start, right? So give me some what's the way of the land, right? Or a little bit of a more recipe or a way to start, because there's also different scenarios. There's complexities like budget, right? Like change is something that obviously came a long way of oh, no investment for change management. Now, of course, is much more understood that that's key. However, it's still not the same as an overall, implementation investment, or the percentage is still not what it ought to be, right, of total investment. So still a lot of challenges. And I think by collaborating, meeting others who are going through similar, challenges and experiences, it's super beneficial. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think, in fact, even coming out of the, the COVID world where these conferences were almost non-existent. And then we did one last year. Did one with Ariana, and there was, you start to see people come out, but still a lot of people want to do virtual. And that's fine. Maybe that's all you can do, but you miss so much of the, like you said, the interaction with the people at breaks, that had, at the receptions, dinners, things like that you just don't get, over virtual meeting. So we're looking forward to being down there as well, and getting to meet people like you and sharing ideas. And of course, those relationships last, far after the conference. So you have
exactly
people you can talk to say, just bounce ideas off of. I think that's a big value to it. So we're looking forward to having you down there, being in Miami. The weather should be good. And meeting
that's
a lot of
the other
people.
plus.
Yeah, right. So anyway, and that's about all we have right now. I just want to, really reinforce the for people to attend and meet up with other people. One of the things I always try to do before conferences, really have a strategy going in, that you're gonna, what are you gonna do? Are there people that you want to meet, or things you want to get handled? So you go in and you have a plan. You're not just attending. So that's
exactly
what
doing some preparation. I agree, it's super important.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
really looking forward to see a lot of folks there, hopefully getting questions, and we can get a good conversation going.
Yeah, that's right. Looking forward to it. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Yep.
Bye.
It's 1st to 3rd November. If you want to directly engage with Adriana on how she leads the technology transformation, be there, and let us enjoy the sun together in Miami.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see everybody there.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.